Hello, welcome back to Healing Mama podcast. I am Val, aka Healing Mama, and today is episode 12, the Fixer Mentality. 12 episodes in, guys. I am so grateful. That means I have put out an episode for the last 3 months consistently on Fridays. So I am so grateful to everyone that has tuned in, listened, watched, however you're streaming the podcast. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. We will go ahead and get started with the quote. The quote I have for today, well, one of them, I have two, is I used to think I could fix anything in my life if I could just try a little harder or give it more time. But some things aren't meant to be fixed. Sometimes all you can do is make peace with it or move forward knowing you did the best you could. That's from the Minds Journal. The second quote I have is, sometimes the best solution is to do nothing. And so I really, really, really love these quotes. The first one, I used to think I could fix anything in my life if I just tried a little harder or gave it more time. I always wanted to fix things, whether if it was for myself or try to fix something for my loved ones. And fixing things stems from me not wanting to hurt or me not wanting my loved ones to hurt. So I wanted to take that into my own hands. But there's nothing you can do. It kind of takes you into the second quote. Sometimes the best solution is to do nothing. There's nothing you can do to change the situation, to change the circumstances. You kind of have to just take it in and learn from it, ask what you're supposed to see or learn from your situation and move on. And so I've dealt with the fixer mentality for years now. It's something that I've struggled with for as long as I can remember. So really and truly, we try to fix things to make the pain go away. Like I said, for ourselves or for our loved ones. And it's something that, if you think about it, it does hurt people. But at the moment when you're trying to fix these situations or trying to help people or trying to fix your own situation, you're not really realizing that you're taking things into your own hands. And that's not the way we should live our lives. We should live our lives to where we open ourselves up to what is and just hope that everything that we're doing is in line with our greatest and highest good, and learn from the situations. So this is something that, a lot of people struggle with. Not necessarily everyone struggles with it, because it does have things to do with, your childhood experiences and why you're a fixer and why you're trying to take things into your own hands and why you don't feel comfortable enough to just let things be. So going through my healing and shadow work, I can see why I have the fixer mentality now that I have worked through steps to kind of dive into my childhood traumas and see where that fixer mentality came from, and kind of reparenting myself and telling myself that it's going to be okay and that we are going to be okay, and situation by situation, not trying to fix it, and just being an open mind to the fact that life is happening for me, not to me. So I have had loved ones tell me that my fixer mentality makes it difficult or has made it difficult in the past to speak or share things with me. And I get it now that, I'm looking at it from a bigger picture. I can see why that affects people, and I could see why people didn't want to share, or I could see why people felt hesitant in sharing with me. And so, for example, I had 3 specific examples that I wrote down here. So I have a cousin who, her and I were very, very, very close. And, when she would go through things, she would come to me and she would vent. And I would see the hurt and I would hear the pain in her voice. So I automatically wanted to keep her from that pain. So I would start making suggestions and recommendations until one day she just told me, like, hey, Val, I'm just trying to vent. I'm just trying to get it off my chest. I just need somebody to listen to me. I don't need you to fix it. And so that was an eye opener for me. So, I told her, okay, well, we have to set a boundary. Like, when you are going to vent to me, tell me, like, I'm going to tell you something. I don't need you to fix it. I just need you to listen, because I needed that as a first step to kind of set her boundaries and tell me, pump your brakes. Don't try to fix this. I'm just trying to vent. And so that was the first situation. My second situation was with my husband. And so same thing, I love him. I don't want him to go through what I feel is unnecessary pain, but who am I to decide what that is? And so I struggled for a long time, and I felt like that did put a strain in our relationship, and it did hinder things for us when we would try to communicate, because he would start telling me, hey, I'm overwhelmed on this, or I'm stressed in this. And automatically I just wanted to go and I wanted to fix the situation or start making suggestions. And so we had to do this thing where we set a timer. And so for 5 minutes, literally, it might sound crazy, but set a timer on his phone. That's what we do. For 5 minutes, he is going to just let it all out. And at the end, he will tell me, I just needed you to listen, or he'll ask, what are your thoughts? What are your suggestions? What do you think? And so that's helped too, because I automatically just jump into these situations and want to fix them, because that's what I do. I don't want my loved ones to hurt. And then the last one is my daughter, or I should say both of my kids, but more specifically, my daughter has been like, hey, pump your brakes. So for both of my children, I would say that, when they're growing up, going through school stuff or whatever the case is, they'll come, they'll tell me, they'll share things with me. And I automatically wanted to fix things. If I felt like they were hurt, I wanted to take care of it and take it into my own hands. And I would get mad or frustrated and say, hey, I'm going to go to the school and I'm going to say this. And they would be like, no, this is why I'm not going to tell you anything anymore. So when they told me that, when my son told me that specifically the last time, I was like, okay, I'm going to cause him to not tell me anything. I'm going to cause him not to trust me, because he's going to say, if I tell my mom this, she's going to go and she's going to cause a scene, or she's going to raise hell. So that scared me. And of course, I wanted to continue to have that relationship with my son and continue to have him be able to come to me and be open and vulnerable about his situations, and him not be afraid that I was going to cause a scene or, start stuff or go and try to fix it. With my daughter specifically, she is her mom. She is her mom 100%. She will put me in my place. She will tell me like it is. And so one day she told me, hey, sometimes I just need you to listen. Very similar to my cousin. And if you can't listen, then I'm not going to tell you anything anymore. And so that was a huge reality check for me. So now what we do is, I tell her, and when she's going to start talking to me about something or situation, I stop her and I'm like, okay, do you want me to listen? Do you just want me to be a shoulder? Do you want me to fix something? Or do you want my suggestions? So in every situation, in every relationship that I have, for the most part, I'm able to see what I'm doing now. And before, I don't think I was able to see it. I just automatically went into it. So I wasn't trying to look at it from a perspective of maybe I was making them feel like they weren't valid, or they weren't respected, or they couldn't come to me and they weren't safe. And that's never what I want for my loved ones, for my friends, for my family. I want you to feel safe in coming to me and know that, what, I can listen. And I if you want my suggestions or my recommendations, then I'm all here for it. But if you just need somebody to listen to you, I'm here as well. And so in working through the childhood shadow work, I have learned that there are reasons why I do have a fixer mentality. And before I get into those reasons, I just want to preface that I am in a really, really healthy place with my mom. I know in earlier videos, I, talked about her and I having a hard conversation, and, me getting everything off my chest and setting boundaries. And I can tell you that her and I have never been in such a great place. We have grown through this, and she's learning as much as I'm learning. We're learning each other. We're working with each other. So everything that I say here, regarding my childhood has nothing to do with how I feel with her presently. This is just me speaking my past. This is me speaking my truth. Her and I have been and are continuing to work on our relationship and to work on our transparency and working on healing and building our relationship. So we'll go ahead and kick off with the reasons why I have a fixer mentality. And this might not be for everyone. Maybe your reasons aren't specific to the reasons I have listed, but this is what I have found in my research and working with my inner child. So the childhood experiences that can lead to a fixer mentality or have led to my fixer mentality have been emotional, immature parents, conditional love, and lack of security. So for the emotionally immature parents, I would say that was on both ends. My father is nearing 60 years old, and I don't know if he has necessarily grown at all mentally. Some people stay stuck. And that's because they choose to stay stuck. You choose to dwell on your past and dwell in your pain and dwell in your hurt, that you don't see past that. You can't see past yourself. So you can't mature. And, just because you're almost 60 years old doesn't necessarily make you mature. And so the same thing with my mother, I feel like she has started to grow in maturity as a parent. And her and I have had conversations too, where we're chatting and I'm like, hey, do you remember this situation? She's like, yeah. And I'll tell her, like, I don't necessarily know if that was the best situation, or you put yourself in a bad situation, in a bad spot. And she's looking at it now and she's like, well, before you even said this, before us having this conversation right now, I didn't think that was the case. But now that you're saying that, I can see it, but I didn't see it then. So maturity is something that we are all working on, that we are all working towards, and it's something that we will continue to deal with for the rest of our life. So as life comes at us, we will mature in different situations. My parents had me young, not a teens, but in their early 20s. And so I've said it once, I'll say it again. We don't start to develop our adult brain until we are in our late 20s. So how can you be an emotionally mature parent and you gave birth in your early 20s? I had my son when I was 18, my daughter when I was 20. Same situation for me. I wasn't emotionally mature. So, that's part one, conditional love. I always felt like the love that I was receiving as a child, as a teen, and even into my adult years was very much a conditional love. I never felt like I received that unconditional, I love you with all my heart, from the bottom of my heart. I got you. You're safe. You're taken care of. I didn't get that. I didn't feel like I got that, at least. And so that's part two, and lack of security. So on this end, my father was in and out of my life, mainly out of my life, until I was older as an adult. And, my mother was always there, ups and downs. She did her thing, whatever the case was, she was living life, but she never left me. We just didn't have the best relationship. And so I feel like as a mother and as a father, you do have to provide that security, that blanket, that I got you, that comfort. And so really, really not having that, I was trying to provide all of these things to myself. And that is what kind of leads into the fixer mentality, trying to provide myself that security, that sense of security. And so I was beginning to fix those things automatically because I needed them. And I needed that to grow and mature and to feel protected. Working through this healing journey, I am trying daily to calm the fixer mentality in my inner child to ensure that I can have a healthy relationship currently, or healthy relationships currently, with my husband, with my children, with my family. And so reparenting myself, in a sense, is key, because I do have to wake up in the morning. I do have to do my daily affirmations. I do have to envision little Val and, tell her, hey, we're going to be okay. I love you regardless. You are safe. You are protected. You are enough. So reparenting as if, I'm parenting my children currently. I have to parent that little Val in me and let her know that we are okay, and provide myself everything that I felt that I lacked as a child. And so, it is applying different methods, and it is working with yourself and working with your family and working with those that have told you, hey, what you're doing is bothering me. So like I said earlier, the 5-minute timer with my husband, do I need to listen, respond, or take action with my daughter, and really, really implementing that on a day-to-day basis to help those relationships. And I screw up daily. I do screw up daily. Sometimes I have to be reminded and, pump my brakes and really realign myself with what my goals are. And I have to have grace with myself. And so if you are a fixer, or you are struggling and you're trying to reparent, your inner child, have grace with yourself. Guys, this is hard work. This is tough work, but it's work that at the end of the day, when I look at it and I lay down at night and I just take a self checklist of a moral inventory of how I feel and what's going on in my life and how I've learned and where I've come from and how much I've grown, I'm grateful for it. And I have to learn in those moments where I am feeling overwhelmed or I am feeling like I am not necessarily in line with where I want to be or I'm not centered. I do have to have grace with myself and know that, hey, it's moment by moment and I'm going to be okay. And I am working towards the best version of myself. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. I'm not sitting here stuck, feeling victim mentality, feeling pity for myself. I am working to be a better person so that I could be the best version of myself for me, number one, and then for the other people in my life, secondly. And so a fixer mentality can make people feel undervalued, belittled, frustrated, incompetent. So really working through this with your inner child trauma to give yourself what you need. Again, that's self-affirmations. That's, envisioning little you. And that's hard. I feel like I didn't really do that until I started the shadow work and I started working and trying to really picture and break through that wall that I couldn't envision little me. And once I started to envision little me and I saw everything that I lacked and I saw everything that I needed, it became that much more easier to give myself that. And it's the key to reparenting myself. So my suggestions and ways that, I'm working on fixing it is setting a boundary with myself, going into a conversation, knowing that I need to listen and allow the other person to speak their truth and then ask them what they need from me and give them that space. And sometimes it's not going to be, hey, I want your suggestion or, hey, what do you think? And I really have to listen and, hold whatever I have in my mind, that I'm thinking of, because I am so going to have suggestions or recommendations that automatically come up. But really holding that back and refraining from, giving them that advice if they didn't ask for it and letting it go and say, you know what, I'm going to respect this person. They are valid. They are sharing with me and just feel blessed that they are sharing with me and that they feel safe enough to come to me and to really, really hold that in my heart and let go of whatever I feel that I need to fix. Because that's not my place. That is for God and that is for them and that is their journey. And so really, really giving them the space to do that. But I'm growing, guys. I'm growing, I'm learning, and I'm not perfect. I screw up daily and I'm just trying to be the best version of myself for little Val and for future me. Because I got big goals, I got big dreams, and I know that as long as I am in center and working to be the best person that I can be and heal myself and work on myself and be the best mom, wife, daughter, granddaughter, cousin, whatever it is that I can be, then I am going to be okay. And day by day, moment by moment is how it's working, and life is happening that to me. And that's the way I'm going to continue to see it. And I hope that I have said it enough to where you start to feel that life is happening for you, not to you, even in the moments where it's tough and you're like, hey, I'm overwhelmed, I'm overstimulated. Take a step back and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? And I promise the more that you do that in bad and good situations, you will start to get the answers. And so that is it for this episode, the Fixer Mentality. I appreciate you all from the bottom of my heart. I send you so much love, joy, peace, and happiness. And I hope you have an amazing weekend. Until next time, have a great day, guys. Bye.